Welcome to Empowered Woman with Gwilda Wiyaka, a radio show addressing the many challenging issues impacting women today and supporting the integration of balanced feminine power in the modern world. For more information on Empowered Woman with Gwilda Wiyaka, visit our website, www.EWGW.com. Now here is your host, Miss Gwilda Wiyaka.
Hello, beautiful ladies, and welcome to Empowered Woman with Gwilda Wiyaka radio show, where we explore the many facets of being healthy, balanced, well-informed, and empowered women. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. This hour, we'll be looking at power over pain, one woman's indomitable spirit. Maximum improvement, the damning words often used by Western medicine when they've done all they can and the patient is still not back to normal. It's a diagnosis insurance companies favor, as it means no more can be done, they can offer a settlement and get you off the docket. But what does it mean for the individual receiving the prognosis? This is the best you can expect for the rest of your life? Each of us responds according to her gifts and according to her limitations. Some of us roll over and resign ourselves. Others rear up saying, hell no, and start looking for other alternatives. Our guest this hour was in the hell no category and may have some insights as to what the alternatives are when traditional medicine has run out of ideas. Dr. Linda Berry, author of Internal Cleansing, can empower you to get out of pain now. After becoming paralyzed by a devastating car accident, she rose up from her wheelchair and defeated chronic pain. Dr. Linda has helped thousands heal for 36 years using chiropractic, nutrition, and trauma healing. She's an internationally known author, speaker, and has been featured on NPR, ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox News. Today, you'll benefit from her knowledge that spans centuries from ancient Taoism to today's cutting-edge medical therapies. Her website, drlindaberry.com. Dr. Linda, thanks for joining us on Empowered Woman.
Good morning.
So nice to have you here.
Thank you.
So what kind of a doctor are you?
I'm a doctor of chiropractic medicine.
And where were you trained?
In Georgia, at Life Chiropractic College. It's now called Life College in Marietta, Georgia, or as they say it, Mayretta.
Well, you don't have an accent anymore.
Oh, I never did. I was actually born in the Northeast in New York. I just went there for chiropractic school because I couldn't stand winter anymore.
Well, there's no winter in Georgia. Huh?
Yeah, at least the kind of winters that were in New York. I couldn't handle snow.
All right. So would you share how you ended up in a wheelchair?
Yeah, absolutely. I was a modern dancer and living my dream. I was a choreographer and with a company called the American Dance Asylum. And one night after a performance run, Bill and Arnie, Bill is now internationally famous, Bill T. Jones, and Arnie and I were driving down to New York City in a van, and at 3 a.m. in the morning, the van went out of control, spun out of control, and went across the two lanes that we were on the side of the freeway, went across the grass median, skidded across the other 2 lanes of traffic. Thank goodness there wasn't another vehicle there. It was 3 a.m., as I said. And then the van rolled, and in that, I crashed through the windshield, crushing my spine, and was taken to the hospital. I was unconscious and just had a memory of being put on a gurney and lifted into an ambulance. And then a few days later, I woke up in the hospital where we were all living back in Binghamton, New York, and I was paralyzed from the waist down. I couldn't move my legs, and I was in that hospital bed being turned from my stomach onto my back every few hours for 2.5 months. Then they started to get me up, and I began, once my blood pressure acclimated to being upright again, they took me to physical therapy in the hospital, and I was in the hospital for another month when they released me in a wheelchair. In order to stand, I had to have these long leg braces that locked at the knees, and in order to walk, I had to have underarm crutches. And of course, they sent me home with a wheelchair because that's exhausting to ambulate, move about in that way. But I persisted, swam a lot. My grandmother was dying that summer, and I went and stayed with the family, and there was a pond out in the backyard, so I swam there. And eventually got to the point where I am today. I still have abnormal gait. The way that I walk is funny. My right foot, I can't lift it up, so I have to lift my right hip higher in order to be able to clear my foot and walk forward. For those of you in the know, it's called a steppage gait, and it's common with spinal cord injuries. People, for instance, who have polio have this kind of a gait as well.
Well, Linda, when you kind of got done with Western medicine, what was your prognosis? What they think you could expect?
Well, they told me in the hospital that they actually didn't know if I would ever walk again, but my bladder was working. That's what the urologist told me. So it was good news that my bladder was working, but having been a dancer, I didn't accept that that was going to be my fate in life. So I worked very hard for a year. Generally, after you have spinal cord damage, everything that you're going to get back comes back after a year. So I worked very hard doing physical therapy and my own therapy, walking as much as possible and swimming. And I am at that point today where I still have muscle weakness in my legs and paralysis of my foot. But as I said, I'm a chiropractic doctor. And one of the patients who came to me over the years was a woman who had the same level of spinal cord injury as I did, the first lumbar vertebra. And she had to walk with these crutches that look like an L shape upside down so that her forearm rested on the top of the crutch. And her bladder didn't work. She had to use a catheter every day in order to empty her bladder. So that night I came home and dropped down on my knees, and you can still hear it in my voice, but very emotional. That could have been me. But on the other hand, I know a woman who broke a number of vertebrae in her back and ribs after an automobile accident, and she didn't have any paralysis whatever, but she had much worse pain than I had. So you just never know what will happen in an injury.
How do you feel like you overcame your circumstances when so many do not?
Well, I think grace, grace of the divine was one thing that I didn't feel defeated. I felt like I could continue to improve. And also, I had been studying karate at the time. I had an enormous community of friends, and of course my family supported me emotionally, and sort of cheerleaders. My friend in college, I remember we went to a lake one time, and she stood in front of me and held my hands and said, "Okay, let's go up and down in the water while I'm holding your hands, and it'll make your legs stronger." So the spirit of karate is to be strong and the best that you can be. And of course, that's the same as being a dancer. So I had that spirit and I had that training, both through karate and also through dance, to do my best, to challenge myself. So I think that spirit was what kept me going.
Were you a doctor at the time of your accident?
No, I was a modern dancer. When it became clear to me that I couldn't be a dancer anymore professionally at the level that I was, that I had to figure out something else to do with my life. And as a dancer, I had been helped with chiropractic care for pains in my neck and in my sacroiliac joint. So I had a long interest in nutrition. At the point of my accident, I was 24 years old. And since I was 17, not a long time at that point, but I was very interested in nutrition. So I decided that I would marry those two, health practices, chiropractic and nutrition, in order to be able to help people overcome their health challenges like I had and like I was continuing to do.
We're about to run out of time in this segment. Does nutrition play a large part in healing no matter what's wrong?
Absolutely. When we come back, I can tell you about my model of healthcare, and biochemistry or nutrition is definitely one of the 4 quadrants of that healing cycle.
Where'd you study for nutrition?
I started when I was 17 reading prevention books. And experimenting with fasting, experimenting with vegetarianism. At that point, I was a Twinkie vegetarian. I was living with my aunt and uncle, and my uncle was a policeman, and so they used to have all these snacks for him to take to work with him. And I would raid the cabinet, and everybody else was in bed. Since then, I've learned a lot more, and of course, I don't advocate eating Twinkies.
Twinkies? No Twinkies?
No Twinkies, yeah.
Oh, I don't know. That might be a deal breaker. Twinkies are a thing, right?
They are a thing.
Well, we're going to have to pick up looking at Twinkies and other nutrition or not nutrition on the other side of this commercial break. It's time for that short pause. Dr. Linda and I will be back after this commercial break. You're listening to Empowered Woman with Gwilda Wiyaka Radio Show, EWWGW.com, on All Women's Radio Network, WARN.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone broadcast network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
You have heard of the X-Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV. Plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
We live in rapidly shifting times of extreme volatility and uncertainty. Such profound change brings a unique opportunity for the evolution of consciousness. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, host of Mission Evolution Radio Show, a program that explores the latest scientific developments and deepening spiritual truths supporting human evolution. Join me on xzbn.net, where I interview leading experts in science, physics, medicine, spirituality, and more. By applying divergent viewpoints to leading-edge topics, we uncover expansive and evolutionary truth to assist you on your path to enlightenment. More information and past episodes are available at missionevolution.org. Welcome back. This is Empowered Woman with Gwilda Wiyaka radio show dedicated to redefining and empowering the feminine. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. Our special guest this hour is Dr. Linda Berry. Her website, drlindaberry.com. Dr. Linda, did science help you heal?
Oh, absolutely. When I was a child, my first school project was looking at nuclear fusion and how the atomic bomb works. So yeah, I have an interest in science, absolutely. And science can tell us so much about how the body works, our learning to this point, and metabolic pathways, nutritional pathways, as well as looking at what happens inside of the nervous system.
So was there a spiritual component to your recovery?
Oh, absolutely. When I became a chiropractor and moved to California, I became a Taoist. There's a teacher, his name is Montauk Chia, and he has a system called the Universal Healing Tao, T-A-O. And Master Chia taught me how to work with energy inside of my body. Now, there's some that may think that that's not divine, but from my perspective, we were given by the divine senses. And so for us to be able to sense what happens inside of our body is a gift from the divine. So working with these Taoist energy practices, I was able to connect with my own inner healer and my own inner knowing better, my own inner voice. That, of course, is a reflection. It says in the Bible that we are made in the image and likeness of God. So that practice was instrumental in connecting to divine source and healing myself.
So in Eastern tradition, we have all the meridians and that sort of thing. Did you feel that the physical damage from the accident restricted some of the energy flow in your body?
Yeah, absolutely. And one time when I went to Thailand after Master Chia developed his center in Thailand, I got a Thai massage in Bangkok. And the person who was working on me said that he had to work on me a really long time because he couldn't feel the energy moving down into my legs. And I still actually, recently I've been diagnosed with Lyme's, and I've been doing herbal therapy for overcoming that condition. And I've been noticing that I have much more sensation in my feet than I had previously. So the process of healing never stops.
It's pretty fascinating, isn't it, how, in Western medicine, we look kind of mechanically. In Eastern medicine, they tend to look more energetically. Tell us a little about your spiritual journey.
Well, I was baptized Catholic, and when I was 14, I don't mean to offend anybody, but I left the church. The thing that bothered me the most was that there was this sense or a teaching in Catholicism that you needed to have a priest between you and God, and that wasn't my experience. And then when I was in college, I decided that I wanted to be a well-read and educated person, so I started to read the Bible. And when I got to I think it's in Luke, it says that the kingdom of God is within you. And I read that, and it was kind of like an aha to me. So for better or for worse, I closed the Bible at that point and started to work on finding that, experiencing that kingdom of God that is within me. And then as I went to chiropractic school and was exposed to Montauk Chia, that felt like this is my path in order to continue to develop myself spiritually. I also get a lot of connection to the divine in nature. I live I'm looking out my window now at the forest that's outside of my window, and being in nature. I always say that moving to California saved my life, because where I live, there's flowers all year long, and in periods of depression, I would always see a flower and it would lift my spirits. In the Taoist system, the way that we look at God is that there's a female and a male element. And of course, being men and women populating the earth, and in the Bible it says we're made in the image and likeness of God, there is a feminine character to God, or we wouldn't look like women, right? So the mother, represented by the earth, gives us health, wealth, and longevity. And the father aspect of God gives us love, joy, and happiness. So I feel like it's my duty as a human being here on earth in order to realize that as often as I can. I remember reading a quote by Maya Angelou, and she said that her goal is to be kind all of the time, and she only accomplishes that 15% of the time. 85% of the time she's not, but that's her goal, or as Stephen Covey would put it, the North Star that guides us. That's the goal, and as much as possible, I work on realizing that in every moment.
Mm. Can you tell us a little something about the science of spirituality?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just went a couple of months ago to a meditation day-long retreat at a place called Spirit Rock near here with Rick Mendius, who's a neurologist, and Rick Hansen, who is a neuropsychologist. And their day-long was titled The Neurobiology of Enlightenment. Mm-hmm. So very fascinating. They actually showed images of the brain, and many people in the audience, I'm sure, are meditators, and they meditate in different ways. So according to the way that we meditate, different parts of our brain light up. So there are some people who do chanting, so that lights up one part of the brain, and in the speech area, in the temporal lobes. And then there's loving kindness, and that activates another part of the brain. So science is actually looking at these things. And of course, we can look at the model of the Tibetans, the Tibetan monks, and they meditate something like 16 hours a day, which I don't know that any American can aspire to with our busy lifestyles. But it's been shown that even 1 minute of meditation, and you can find that on the web, the 1 minute meditation, begins to help to rewire our brain. So I learned it from Rick Hansen the first time that I heard it. He says neurons that fire together, wire together. So what that means is that what we focus on shapes our brain. When I was in chiropractic school back in the 70s, the late 70s, early 80s, they taught us that once we're 2 years old, our brain is pretty well developed and nothing else happens. But many of your listeners have probably heard of neuroplasticity. And what that means is just what I learned from Rick Hansen, that our brain is shaped by what we focus on. So the more we can focus on what's good, he actually has a practice called taking in the good. The more we can focus on that, the more our brain pathways for good feelings, for happiness, the happy hormones, the endorphins that are so good for our health, are produced more. Because inside of our bodies, we have electricity going on all the time, and we also have chemistry, and they're very interrelated. So every thought, every feeling, every emotion is related to a specific biochemical and electrical state. And what we focus on, whether we're going to focus on what's good in our life or whether we're going to worry about and commiserate and dig the hole deeper of what's bad, that's what's going to shape our brain, and that's going to affect our health, our relationship to ourself, our relationship to our colleagues and our family and our community.
That's amazing. We're just about out of time in this segment, but it sounds to me like what you're saying is what we think wires our brain. The wiring of our brain affects our entire body and therefore can either enhance or retard healing.
Absolutely. And not only our own self, but for others. You've heard that expression, when you smile, the whole world smiles with you. So we can become a beacon of light and healing just by being focused on what's happy that affects all of those around us.
So we're putting out the happy vibe, if you will. Do we really pass that energy from person to person and have an effect on each other's brain chemistry and physical chemistry?
Absolutely. In my trauma healing that I did much later in my chiropractic career, they talk about a resonance, and that we get in the resonance of our patients, and we have ours just a little bit higher to inspire them and to affect them to be able to step up their state. So, when you go in a room and there's
we'll have to pick up on resonance on the other side of this short pause. Dr. Linda and I will return to our discussion on the other side of this commercial break, so you stay right there. This is Empowered Woman with Gwilda Wiyaka Radio Show, EWWGW.com, coming to you through All Women's Radio Network, WARN.net.
From our broadcast studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, to the world and beyond, you're watching the X-Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
AVS Media Demo.
You have heard of the X-Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV, plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X-Zone, Sci-Fi, and Horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world, interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com.
Welcome back. This is Empowered Woman with Gwilda Wiyaka Radio Show, bringing the latest tools and information to support women during these rapidly shifting times. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. Our guest this hour is Dr. Linda Berry. Her website, drlindaberry.com. Dr. Linda, we were just about to get into resonance. Would you go into that a little bit for us?
Sure. So have you ever had the experience where you go into a room and somebody's just really negative? Maybe they're even yelling. And how does that make you feel? Does it make you want to go to them and be in that room? Whereas, what if you see somebody who's smiling? Don't you smile back? So it's as simple as that. Just the energy that we produce, people can feel it. I remember in my youth, teenage years, I was quite sad. And sometimes people that were total strangers to me would come up to me and say, it's not that bad. So they were absolutely picking up on my state at that point. And as a counterpoint, I had a patient the other day who said after the visit, I just want to let you know, Dr. Linda, that you are really special. You emanate a light. So it's something that people can feel, and it affects them.
Mm. So how did your journey to being pain-free impact your spiritual practice?
It's very difficult to feel a connection to God or to the divine when you're in a lot of pain. Kind of takes your attention and makes you grumpy and maybe even makes you escape into using drugs or comforting yourself with ice cream. It doesn't have to be necessarily an illegal substance, or it could be a legal substance, alcohol, which is very damaging to health taken in excess. So getting out of pain is a step towards being able to experience that bliss. I developed one night, I woke up and started writing down Dr. Linda's 5-fold path to bliss. So that's, definitely a goal of mine, is to experience that rapture and that bliss of the divine. And the first step in that is to eliminate what's irritating you. Pain is an irritant.
Pain's a pretty complicated issue, though, isn't it? I was discussing with actually a back surgeon on one of my programs about how people become afraid of pain, and it creates the pain after a while. So you take drugs, pretty hardcore drugs sometimes, to fight the pain. At first, thank goodness for it, because when we're deep in pain, we can't heal. But then it seems to start a cycle where we are in avoidance of pain, and we're suffering over our suffering. Have you experienced that, or do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. When we're in pain, we tend to tighten up around it. And that causes restriction of blood flow, restriction of lymphatic flow. So our tissue is not healthy. Our muscles, our nerves, our joints, our organs, etc. We kind of grip around the pain. And pain can become neurogenic. So what that means is that the nervous system, remember we talked about in the last segment how what we focus on shapes our brain. And so we can become so habituated to pain that it just keeps recycling itself.
And how do you get out of that cycle? I mean, you've been in chronic pain. What's the first step of getting out of there?
Yeah, so very good question, Gwilda. One of the things that we can do is observe the pain. So you can be in the pain. Oh, I'm really in pain. I'm really hurting. How can I stand this? And another way you can do is you can say, my body is hurting in this particular area. And that takes you one step back from the pain. It's called tracking in the somatic experiencing trauma healing language or verbiage. So just observing the pain And then as we observe the pain, oftentimes it will change. It'll become less sharp, less throbbing, as we are the compassionate healer or the compassionate mother or father looking at the pain. And then another thing that we can do is called pendulation. So you know how on a clock, a pendulum clock, it goes from the right to the left. So to use that image, you can check in on what the pain is, and then say you have pain in your right neck. Well, notice the pain, observe it, be a compassionate, loving adult or child to that pain, and then go over and feel what's happening on the left side of your neck. And as much as possible, immerse yourself in that. Is there a color associated with it? Is there a word? Is there an emotion? Freedom, for instance, that you can feel, white light, happiness that you might feel on the left side of your neck. And as you focus on that left side of your body that's feeling okay or feeling good, there's a phenomenon in the nervous system called spillover. So as you increase the amount of focus on what's good or what's okay, that will spill over into the other side of your neck. So then when you check back in to that other side, it doesn't hurt as much. And that can give you hope.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because in massage therapy, when you have a really acute area in a person's body, if you work on the opposite side, the same muscle on the opposite side, it'll actually have an effect on the one that's so acute, and you don't have to touch it directly to start out with. Are those two phenomenon related?
Absolutely. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
So the whole body's related back and forth to itself, masculine, feminine sides, and counterbalancing each other, even when you're dealing in pain.
Right. If you think of the fascia in our body, for instance, it's one continuous membrane. It holds together our muscles. It holds up our organs. It connects into the inside wall of our body. So if you have a problem in one area, and we talked about guarding, where you guard around pain, it's going to pull on that fascia everywhere. And so if you can get that area to relax a little bit, it helps the other areas. Or if you can focus on the other areas, it helps the tight area to let go and receive nutrition.
So again, the flow of blood, the flow of nutrients, the flow of energy, all of that's restricted by us tightening down around pain and or believing in the pain, getting caught in that cycle.
Well, we don't want to deny what's true. We never want to deny what's true. You have pain, you've got pain, and I'm very sorry. And I know it's difficult, but you want to not focus on it. You want to find out what else is good in your life. Nourish yourself. So, for you it might be music. For you it might be dancing. It might be some type of movement. For you it might be being out in nature. But engage in activities that make you feel good. Laugh. Laughing is a great antidote to pain.
And laughing is a great antidote to everything, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. How does the seeming lack of spirituality in traditional medicine impact the patient?
Well, I think first it makes us not be recognized. It's like the way that medicine is set up is that there's a urologist who takes care of your kidneys and your bladder. There's a podiatrist who takes care of your foot. There's a cardiologist who takes care of your heart. Well, my goodness, you're not just your heart or your foot or your kidneys and bladder. You're a whole being, and you're also not just a whole physical being. You're a whole mental being. You're a whole emotional being. You're a whole spiritual being. So when medicine comes in and looks at one part and is just working on that part, it's denying who you are as a being.
Do you have to be spiritual or religious in order to heal?
I get an I don't know on that one, Gwilda. I don't know. Yeah.
Well,
certainly there are atheists who say they don't believe in God and they injure themselves, and if they get a cut, the cut heals. So no, I don't think you have to believe in God as I think about it again. We have these innate healing responses, and that's what our body's trying always to do, to heal and to rejuvenate until the point where we get overloaded and we can't do it anymore, and then the body breaks down.
It seems like, we're physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual beings. And to the degree that we can rally each of those four elements of ourselves towards healing, we're more supported. Is that the way you see it?
Absolutely. I was talking about the four factors of healing. So there's structure of the body, chiropractic, physical therapy, exercise helps that. There's the biochemistry of the body, eating the right foods for us, making sure we're getting rid of what's excess, like heavy metals or fried food or too much alcohol, and getting what we need, nutrient-dense food, is going to help with that. And then in the mental, emotional, spiritual field, letting go of what's burdening us and bothering us and making sure not to carry other people's bad energy and focusing on the important things, what Stephen Covey would call the big rocks, and hopefully your health is one of those big rocks. So you make time for it in your schedule, connecting with the divine, however that works for you, easing your mind, are ways to get you back to your healing center. And then electromagnetics are important, trying to be around positive healing energy. I use a device called the Beamer, B-E-M-E-R, in my practice, or laser. Those are energetic ways to help. Flower essences.
Well, we're going to have to take a break and pick up on this list, and it sounds impressive. Dr. Linda and I will return shortly to continue our exploration, so don't leave us now. You're listening to Empowered Woman with Gwilda Wiyaka radio show, EWWGW.com, coming to you through the All Women's Radio Network, WARN.net.
You have heard of the X Zone? Now watch it on Simul TV. Plus 500 video games, live TV channels, free video on demand, worldwide, and more. Does this sound like tomorrow's television? Well, it is, but you can have it today, right now. It is Simul TV. Simul TV offers what the others only wish they could provide. 15 exclusive channels like X Zone, sci-fi, and horror. We are worldwide. No other provider offers that. 500 built-in video games. No need to have an extra expensive system. We have them included. Free video on demand. Live streaming events from around the world. Interactive online network, and much more. Tomorrow's TV today. Simul TV. Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. You can have Simul TV today. Sign up at simultv.com. Do it today.
The new nonfiction book, Razor of Madness, is similar to cult movies like Clockwork Orange, Dragon's Tattoo, or The Other Side of Hell. Wayne Morin Jr. and Thomas Lee Howell will expose widespread and systematic deficiencies in this thought-provoking tell-all novel. Mind control rages among scholars in law schools. Human rights are ignored while thought reform and mental manipulation are accepted practices used as behavior modification. Dr. Louis Jolyon West comes to mind. Media and public scrutiny shows that United States mental hospitals are in fact destructive murder industries. Razor of Madness expose novel details this epidemic through an in-depth professional and personal investigation. For decades, there has been a revolving door policy that still releases killers and pedophiles back into society. The maestro of mind control continues to haunt America to this very day. Razor of Madness is available in paperback or as a downloadable ebook at Amazon.com.
The concept of a new age has been around since the late 19th century, yet much of its original meaning has been lost. What exactly is the new age? Is it a religion, a collection of obscure esoteric practices, a series of doomsday predictions, or an astrological event? The New Age Chronicles is a unique complementary publication bringing reason and grounded information to separate fact from fiction. chock full of valuable information to support you as we make the monumental shift into the new era. You won't want to miss a single innovative issue. The New Age Chronicles newspaper is coming soon to www.newagechronicles.com. Welcome back. This is Empowered Woman with Gwilda Wiyaka Radio Show, bringing the latest information to support women as we embrace our true power. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. Have something to say? You can join the discussion on our blog at EWWGW.com. Our guest this hour is Dr. Linda Berry. Her website is drlindaberry.com. That would be DRLINDABERRY.com. Dr. Linda, you have some pretty good stuff on your website that people can look at too, don't you?
Absolutely. So that Fivefold Path to Bliss, there's a short video, 9 minutes, that explains that. It's under the resources section. And I have a newsletter, of course, and I also have a meditation called Smile into Distress that I give to you free. You just have to give me your email address and your name so that I can email you a link for that. And that's absolutely free. You can listen to it whenever you like. It's a 15-minute meditation that helps you to be able to focus on eliminating what's really bugging you.
Great.
And
it sounds like a very rich resource, and thank you for providing that for people. How did your experience help you become an empowered woman?
Wow, how did my experience, well, one day at a time, one moment at a time. You just keep going forward, looking at what inspires you, affiliating with people who lift you up and support you, learning more about the function of your body can be very helpful, and engaging in practices on a daily basis that help you. One of my ongoing things that I do is I just concentrate in the center of my body. It's called the hara by the Japanese. It's a little bit below and behind your belly button. So if you drew a line from the top of your head down the middle of your toes and dissected your body in half, it's kind of right in there. So if you just keep your focus, a bit of your focus, always in that center of your being, it helps you to stay calm and aware. The masters say we should be okay, whatever happens, because, ultimately we are divine beings. We are material in this life, but material wears out. So, we're all going to die. And being connected to that inner resilience, that inner source, the connection with the divine can keep you going, keeps me going.
Mm-hmm. I want to change gears just a little bit, but this is really important. Your current book is Internal Cleansing, and you work with gut health and cleansing. What does gut health have to do with chronic pain?
Well, we can have pain because our joints are all mucked up with toxins that are inside of the body. And that can be because we're not eliminating effectively through sweat, through bowel movements, through urine, through breath. There might be some interruption there. Working with a healthcare provider can help you figure that out. There could be an issue of inadequacy of nutrition. There's our gut, for instance. There's receptors for our immune system in our gut. And if we're have an irritated gut, or if we're filling our gut full of things that are bad for us, that causes inflammation in the body, and then that inflammation causes pain. And then we talked about our thoughts. And when you have depressed and angry thoughts, it cuts down blood flow, it tightens the muscles, and that affects the nourishment that can go to each of our cells and cause pain by being too much in a negative state of mind.
How did you make the connection between gut health and chronic pain?
Oh, I didn't make the connection. It's out there in the scientific community. We know, well, for instance, if somebody has gas, it's painful. That's right inside the gut. If somebody's constipated, they probably have pain in their head because of the constipation. So those are two clear examples that I think everybody can relate to relative to pain and the state of their intestinal tract, their gastrointestinal tract.
What compromises the health of our gut?
If we eat when we're stressed, for instance, our body is in a sympathetic nervous system mode. So we have an automatic or autonomic nervous system that works without us thinking about it. The sympathetic mode is the stress or the go, go, go part of our nervous system. And the parasympathetic is the relaxation. It's called rest and digest part of our nervous system. So if we're stuck in a sympathetic mode, if you're woofing down your food on a short break from work or even while you're working and worried and concerned about your deadline or what's going on in your life or your family or relationship, your body cannot produce the digestive enzymes that it needs to break down the food. So then what happens is that fat rancidifies, protein putrefies, and carbohydrates ferment, and you end up with a gut that's in trouble and your cells are not nourished. So the state of our mind when we're eating affects our ability to digest the food and our ability to be nourished so that we can be out of pain.
Boy, when you look at our society out there and the way we're doing things right now between fast food and stress, it looks like we could be in trouble just from living in this society.
Well, and we know that we are in trouble. 60% of Americans are overweight and 30-some% are obese. And, we're number 36. We're the richest country in the world, maybe except for where they've got oil spitting out of the ground in this small country. And we're number 36 in terms of health. So
Wow.
and it's related, we have this expression, the standard American diet. So if you put that together, what is that? SAD. The standard American diet is sad. It's not nourishing us.
It is sad state of affairs because here we have one of the richest countries in the world and we're starving to death.
Right. We're starving ourselves.
Yeah. Does having an unhealthy gut during pregnancy impact a woman's children?
Oh, absolutely. And the mental and emotional state of a mother impacts her children.
Mm-hmm.
If a mother is stressed out, it actually not only affects her child, but it goes down 3 generations.
Oh my.
So that it's true and disconcerting and could be empowering because that can change your focus. If you're affecting your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren by how you're being, that might inspire you to find more good in your life.
That takes us back to the old wives' tales and the indigenous beliefs that the sins of the fathers are visited upon 7 generations, or that what you do when you're pregnant is going to impact your children. Like if you get a perm, your kid's hair might be born curly. Well, we know that's not true, but there's a lot of truth to the beliefs that what we do when we're pregnant and what we expose ourselves to when we're pregnant greatly impact our children and our children's children.
Yeah, absolutely. I wrote about it in my book about mothers and what they're exposed to and how it's affecting their children. It's just a fact.
Does an unhealthy gut affect men differently than women?
Women are more complex than men. Men have XY chromosomes and women have XX chromosomes. So they're missing 1/8 of the genetic material that women have. I spoke to a male scientist about it, and he said that it's actually 36,000 pairs of genetic material men do not have in women. So we're just more complex, and everything is more, our hormonal cycle, it goes up and down and up and down, and men tends to stay pretty even, a little higher in the morning with their testosterone levels, but so that's part of why we have such trouble relating to each other. We can't understand what's going on in the other because we're so different.
There's beauty in the difference too, though, isn't it, when you team it up?
Absolutely. Instead of being at war, we can complement each other. Men have strengths that women don't have. They notice motion more than we do. Generally, they're stronger muscularly than we are. We make a good pair. We make a good team when we cooperate and collaborate and accept each other. and support each other in our strengths, forgiving each other's weaknesses.
Mm. How can what you've learned about gut health, nutrition, and cleansing help us become empowered as women?
Well, the better you take care of yourself, the better you feel, the better you're able to accomplish your goals in life, and the better example you are for those around you.
And then you're putting out good vibes too, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
If your gut's unhappy, you're in the world of turmoil in yourself, and, maybe you're even grouchy. But if your gut's feeling good, then you've got what you need to be all that you can be and support those in your life who need your support.
We have about half a minute left. What would you suggest for our ladies out there, the first step to becoming empowered, regardless of circumstance?
Yeah, smile. And smile not only with your lips, but smile with your eyes and your whole face and your whole being. When you're smiling, that allows your body to receive the happy hormones, the elixirs of good life and well-being. Smile.
Smile. Smile, and the world smiles with you, we hope.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's been an absolute delight. I'm glad we were able to make this time together. And people can visit your website to see all your good goodies. I will give that information out as we close out here. Unfortunately, we have come to the end of our time together. So, Dr. Linda, thank you so much for coming on the show.
And thank you for being with us today, all of you listeners, and thank you, Gwilda, for this opportunity to share.
My pleasure. Our guest this hour has been author of Internal Cleansing, Dr. Linda Berry. Her website, drlindaberry.com. That's drlindaberry.com. This has been Empowered Woman with Gwilda Wiyaka Radio Show, EWWGW.com, coming to you through All Women's Radio Network, WARN.net. Until next time, dear sisters, stand in your beauty, stand in your truth, and embrace your power. The world needs you just like you are.
Modern Esoteric, Beyond Our Senses by Brad Olson, consummates the lifeology story about where humanity originates. It is the lost continents, the primitive wisdom, the mythos of creation, and the rethinking of ancient history as we are taught in academia. There is much more to the story than what we have been told. As this is the first book in the Esoteric series, Modern Esoteric starts at the beginning of time and accelerates up to this modern age. Future Esoteric is book 2 in the series and takes a forward-looking position ahead of today with an open and honest examination of the ET issue and various unexplained phenomena. To discover the writings of author Brad Olson, visit www.bradolson.com. That's www.bradolson.com. Are you or is someone you know struggling with addictions, depression, anxiety, relationships, low self-esteem, lack of confidence, grief, success, and prosperity? Do you know that your subconscious belief plays a big role in the outcome of your hard work? We can help you permanently change the beliefs that may be the reason for your struggles and failures. We care about getting you the return on your investment and the results you are looking for. We can help you be free of the limitations of your past and in realizing your highest potential. We work with people by phone and Skype. For more information, visit us at www.ritasoman.com. That's www.ritasoman.com. Do you think you have energy problems in your home? Do you feel better when you're away than when you're home? Joey Korn is a global leader in the world of dowsing who specializes in personal energy clearing and space clearing. He can help you create an ideal energy environment in your home no matter where you live in the world. Learn about his remote spiritual house cleaning services and much more at www.dowsers.com. You can get Joey's book, Dowsing, A Path to Enlightenment, as well as other dowsing books and tools, Kabbalah books, and Walter Russell books. Joey's work is really amazing. Go to dowsers.com right now. That's DOWSERS.com, or call 1-877-DOWSING. That's 1-877-369-7464.